Medibank investigation. Just give me a moment to find my questions. On what date did the AFP launch its investigation into the Medibank cyber attack?
On 20th of October.
The 20th of October. The Medibank cyber attack was first publicly announced on the 13th of October, and that was the time which government was first notified as well. Why didn't the AFP's investigation begin on the 13th of October?
There'd been ongoing engagement with Medibank by the AFP and also by the ACSC in relation to this incident, but and it was obviously a set of fluid facts and circumstances in relation to the matter. Obviously, in terms of that engagement, Medibank formed the view on the 20th to formally refer it to the AFP for criminal investigation, but there had been ongoing engagement before that date.
But you don't require a referral from Medibank to commence an investigation, do you? You can commence your own investigation if you believe the facts.
We don't require a referral, but I think it's fair to say it's helpful. In terms of engagement and support from obviously from Medibank in this circumstance, but other companies in other circumstances.
Is the reason why that AFP didn't commence its investigation on October the 13th because Medibank stated that they didn't believe any customer data was lost, and so therefore the AFP didn't determine it was a serious investigation?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, Senator, it was a very fluid set of circumstances in relation to what actually happened in relation to that matter. But again, Medibank made that decision on the 20th, and we very much supported it.
I wonder, though, given that given the sensitive nature of the data that Medibank held, any cyber attack on it always had the potential to be very serious. Wouldn't it be safer to assume when there is a cyber attack on a health insurer or a bank or any other major utility and telecommunications company that it is serious rather than assume that it's not serious and wait until we find out later?
Yeah, I think, first of all, Senator, we work, as you are aware, very closely with the Australian Centre for Cybersecurity and brilliantly led by Director General Rachel Noble, and we've worked very closely with them on both the Optus and Medibank matters. And as you know, again, intelligence and information is not necessarily evidence in regards to criminality, and we do rely on companies to officially report it as a crime, and then we take a statement, as you're aware, and that often sets off a criminal investigation, but it doesn't mean prior to that we're not looking at the matter, assessing that intelligence, and that's what we've been able to do, I think, very well with the ACSC and the team over there. And we're jointly located because, as you're aware, they own Report Cyber. But in this matter, I think it's important too, Senator, that we've set up Operation Guardian out of our Joint Policing Cybercrime Centre in Sydney, and that's to protect any of the victims as far as if there's any identity fraud or other offences against those individuals who have had their data compromised. And so far that's worked very well in the sense that we went out and actually charged a particular offender who was trying to use some of that data for their own personal gain.
Yeah, I think that was in relation to the Optus attack, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and that appears to be, on face value, someone attempting to piggyback off an attack.
Correct.
Yeah. Just on Medibank, though, like it does seem that there was a week has elapsed between the attack being first disclosed and the investigation commencing. I mean, that is lost time. That in a cyber attack, time is of the essence.
I think to probably be fair to Medibank, it's to work it out from a technical point of view. These things are incredibly challenging from a technical point of view because, it can be quite difficult to work out what's been taken, if anything, where has it gone to, and so on. So I think they were very careful in understanding what's occurred. It's not like you sort of, as you would know, Senator, a lot like your traditional sort of warehouse that gets broken into and you know that a tractor's missing or something like that. It can take a while for companies to work out where we know possibly there's been a break-in. We're just trying to understand what's occurred. So that's often why there is a delay in these matters. But what I can say is, having spoken with the CEO, very, very cooperative and have listened to our advice on various matters, not that they have to, and that includes the board as well.
Yeah. When did the AFP first learn that a compromised credential was a possible or likely vector for the attack?
Oh, Senator, I haven't got the exact date and time, but again, I think the point the Commissioner's making and I've made is the 20th of October was the formal referral. There's been, in the previous 2 weeks or up to 2 weeks...
I'm just a bit limited for time. I don't like to interrupt, but I apologise.
I'll take that on notice.
Thank you. If you could, that'd be great. My understanding is that the company announced that first publicly on the morning of Monday the 17th, so 3 days before the investigation was launched, and I'm assuming notified government before then, or at least around then. It should have been clearer, as I understand it, once we knew that a compromised credential was involved and once we knew what data that credential had access to, that this was likely to be much more serious than the company believed, and yet it was still a number of days before the AFP commenced its investigation. Why wasn't it commenced straight as soon as we learned that information?
I think it goes back to what I previously answered, Senator, plus also, as you're aware, there's no mandatory reporting as well.
That's why I asked when this was reported, because although it's not mandatory, if you had the information...
And we're aware of Australian companies who have been breached, who've made payments through US law firms that have not reported it as a crime.
Yeah. Senator, I'm going to cut you off in a second. I know these are important questions to you, but we have to move on to other senators.
Okay, just finally on cyber. The AFP, and you addressed in your opening statement, in the longer opening statement that you tabled, Commissioner Kershaw, has cooperated with the FBI in relation, I believe, to the Optus attack. Are you also cooperating with the FBI in relation to Medibank, or is it just Optus?
Yes.
And what assistance is the FBI providing in both instances?
I can't go into the specifics in the investigation, but obviously having those strong linkage that we have with the Bureau, and we do go back a long way with the Bureau, is a positive in the sense of tracking down those people responsible, and that's what they're assisting us with.
So it's capabilities that they have that are useful, or is it useful because of the jurisdiction that they operate from and the different laws they had? What's the reason?
It's both capability and also intelligence base. These individuals and/or syndicates operate, as you know, globally, and we're not just talking to the Bureau. There are other police forces in the Five Eyes group. In particular, as chair of the Five Eyes Law Enforcement Group, we've sent that out to our partners, which is New Zealand, as you know, UK authorities and the Canadians. So we're going to unite the fight on this, in particular on ransomware.
Thank you.